Certainly welcome you to the 30 if I can get that to work, right? Microphone on mute. But hey, this is live, so these things happen. As I said, this is an exciting time as we continue the third part in a series on locking the door to your successful career or business. Tonight or this evening, wherever you're watching from, I have invited a good friend of mine. We serve together, and her name is Jennifer Boutte. Jennifer, welcome to the 30. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Patrick.
Yeah, this is your first time venturing into the 30.
Yes, it is. I'm excited to be here.
All right. Well, tell our viewers who you are, right? Give us a little background and what you do.
So, my name is Jennifer Boutte, born and raised right here in Rochester, New York. The mother of one. Anyone who knows me knows how proud I am to talk about my daughter, Aaliyah. 18, headed to college. She'll be attending North Carolina Central University this fall. Currently, I serve as the Vice President of Community Engagement at Goodwill of the Finger Lakes. We cover the Rochester and the Central New York / Syracuse region. It's a great organization. I've been with them now for just a little over a year. I was one of those people who started a new career, if you will, during the pandemic. And I kid you not, it is one of the best decisions that I've ever made.
Awesome. Good. So what does the VP of Community Engagement do? And how do you prepare for such a job?
So, in short, the VP of Community Engagement does a lot. But all seriousness, in my role, I oversee fundraising and development, marketing, public relations, and our Good Neighbor program. I am blessed to have a team of, I used to say 4, but now I say 7 technically, because the Good Neighbor program now has 3 community navigators under the program director. So a team of 7 now, if you will. How do you prepare for that job? Well, number one, if anything, I'd say you have to be a natural relationship builder. You have to be someone who is connected to the community or someone who believes in being connected to the community. And more importantly, you have to have the ability to fundraise, because in my role, basically, we are like the fundraising arm of the organization, if you will. So we host different events that support different programs and services of the organization. We do grant writing. We do a lot of engagement with the community. You never know where you may see us at, but that's the whole purpose of this department, if you will, at Goodwill.
Okay. And how does one prepare for it? How did you prepare for it?
How did I prepare for it? Well, I would say that I did put in my work. For a number of years, I've worked in different roles pertaining to fundraising and development. My background is finance, and a lot of people don't know that. But back in 2017, I decided to trade finance for fundraising full time. And again, one of the best decisions that I've ever made. I found that, yes, it's important to know how to identify the needs of an organization, but it's equally as important to know how to go out and get those resources, if you will. So since 2017, I've been doing fundraising and development full time. In terms of how I prepared, it's just about climbing the ladder, going from just being a development associate to a director of development to being a director of development and community engagement. And now here I am, blessed to serve as the vice president of community engagement, overseeing all those different facets.
Oh, that's a big deal, especially with the VP title comes responsibilities, right?
A lot of responsibility, but you know what? When you're fortunate enough to work with a really solid leadership team, but more importantly, when you're fortunate enough to work for us or serve alongside a really solid leader, honestly, Patrick, it makes the job that much easier.
Sure. So today we're going to be talking and continuing our conversation, unlocking the door to a successful career. So every guest that come on during this series, I'll be asking them, give us one key or a couple of keys that has helped you to unlock that door. Because we know with any door, if it's locked, right, it takes a key, whether it's a physical key or digital key. So what is your key that helped you to unlock the door to what we consider as a successful career?
In all honesty, that key would be my faith. And that covers so many things. Faith was instilled in me as a little girl for as long as I could remember, being born and raised and reared in the church. You knew to have faith for everything, about everything. You knew to believe in yourself. And it was so important to also keep people around you who believed in you, who would mentor you, who would motivate you. And for me, in my world, not only did I have a family of faith, I also had friends of faith around me at all times, even now in this career. So where I am today, I couldn't have made it without that same faith. When things are going good, I was taught to pray. When things are going bad, I was taught to pray even harder. And like I said, everything I've done to date is really dependent upon my faith. My faith has taught me that there is nothing that's impossible. My faith has taught me that hurdles, they are to be jumped over, doors, they are to be knocked down, or depending on the situation, they are to be kicked down. My faith has taught me that any room that I enter, it's because I'm supposed to be there. So never let anyone tell me otherwise. So yeah, I'd have to say that's the key that has unlocked my door to my success.
All right. And that's a good key.
Absolutely.
So, is there moving on from the key that has unlocked that door, and you talked about people around you and your family and friends? Are there or is there any one in particular? Are there individuals that you would say, hey, they have helped me along, not only the key of faith, but also the individuals? Tell us about those.
So when I think of the people who keep me motivated, who have kept me motivated, number one, I would have to say, although she's no longer with us, I would say my grandmother. My grandmother's that one person. Granted, I have a beautiful family; they're amazing, and they believe in everything that anyone does in the family. You know, right, wrong, or indifferent, they are very supportive. But I would have to say that being raised by my mom and my grandparents, it was really my grandmother for me, because that is the one person in the family who believed in everything that everybody did. There was no limits in what you can do. And yes, she is deceased now, but it's still almost as if she's living every day, because everything I do, you know, it's almost like I talk to her first, like, Grandma, I did this. Grandma, I did that. If you know, there's a promotion, I'm that one. I'm really going to run to the cemetery and say, look what I did. Look what I achieved. You know, it means that much to me to continue to make her proud. And then secondly, I would have to say my daughter. She is the closest person to me on this earth. So, you know, it's important that everything that I do, I always am mindful of the fact that she's watching me. Again, right, wrong, or indifferent, she sees everything that I do. So, you know, I work hard to show her that, you know, everything is earned, nothing is given. You got to work hard for the things that not just the things you need, but the things you want as well. And then there are like my mentors. I have tons of mentors, and those are the people that, you know, keep me going. I'm not going to name any because I don't want to forget a name. So anyone, you know, to make sure no one takes it personal, but I am big on mentorship. I'm just recently, I've gained a few new mentees, and these are opportunities that I don't say no to, because I always think about how when I needed mentors in different areas of my life, no one ever said no to me. And mentors are those people that hold you accountable. They encourage you. You know what I mean? They support you. They believe in you. You can bounce ideas off of them. You know, what my mentor specifically, if I am interested in a new job or applying at an organization, being promoted, what have you, I typically run it by them, and they're going to give me their opinion. And that's what I appreciate the most about having those mentors. So those are the people that keep me going on this journey.
Awesome. So, Jennifer, when we come back, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to hear more of your journey, right? Where were you, and how did you get to this point? And we talk about the key of faith, but I want to hear more about your journey and what's next for you. So think about that. Hold tight, 30 seconds, and we'll be right back. All right, you are watching the 30. My guest is Jennifer Boutte, and we're continuing our conversation with the series Unlocking the Door to a Successful Career. So we talked with Jennifer, and she said her one key, most important key to unlocking all the doors that she's been through is the key of faith. So we want to talk more about and hear a little bit more about Jennifer's journey. Jennifer, let's talk about where you were. Give us a preview of your journey, because those that are watching, as I said, this program or this broadcast is all about giving people hope, right? Giving them the information, giving the knowledge and the hope, and says, hey, if Jennifer can do it, I can do it.
That's right. So a little bit about my journey. After high school, I graduated from Edison Tech in 2000. I went away to school. I attended Delaware State University for 2 years. Before coming back to Rochester, I came back home and summer of 2002. And as it would happen, life happened. In 2003, I got married. In 2004, I became a mother. But that wasn't enough for me. So 2005, once my daughter turned 1 year old, that's when I went out to MCC to ask, what can I do with this coursework that I have completed thus far? Because I was finding it difficult to really find a good job in our community, if you will. So I transferred those courses that I completed at Delaware State into an associate's degree. At that point, I started worked for a couple of years at different organizations. I worked at Summit Federal Credit Union. After that, I took a job at the Rochester Credit Bureau. The name has changed 100 times now. I worked in accounting there for almost 5 years before joining the nonprofit sector, where I worked at the Catholic Family Center for about 1.5 years until they went through some organizational restructuring. From there, I went to Wilson Commencement Park. To date, that is still one of the best jobs I've ever had for a number of different reasons. But what I found as I climbed the career ladder is that certain roles were not granted to me because of that missing education component.
Mm.
And I knew that eventually I would have to do something about that. So in 2015, I want to say 2014, 2015, something like that. That's when I had enrolled in Roberts Wesleyan College to complete my bachelor's degree. I did that and I figured, well, strike while the iron is hot is what they say. And I went on to complete my master's degree, or started rather, within about 2 to 3 months. And during that time, that's when I started to grow professionally. I was trying to figure out some of the things that I wanted to do. What area did I really want to work in? Did I want to stay in finance, or did I want to pursue something I loved, which was fundraising and development? So as I said, back in 2017, when I completed my master's degree, that is when I officially traded finance for fundraising and development. And for anyone who knows anything about Roberts Wesleyan College, shortly after I finished my master's, my daughter and I were fortunate to do a commercial. We have a really neat Roberts Wesleyan commercial, and it talked about, my journey and what made me decide to further my education for career reasons. And in the message, it talks about hope. If I can do it, so can you. I knew what kind of work I wanted to do. I knew what kind of positions that I wanted to land. So rather than continuously applying in and being told no, I had to do something about it. And once I did that, I would apply for certain roles and those doors would start opening for me. So that being said, I knew the importance of hope. I knew that, hey, you got to go out and get it. If this is what you've been taught, then now is the time to apply what you've been taught. And once I did that, I started landing leadership roles. And I'm like, okay, this is the trajectory that I saw for myself. And like I said, the commercial, it really just sums up my story about like, if I can do it, so can you. If this is what I want, if this is what I need to do to get what I want, so can you, even as an adult learner. Because some people think, oh, it's too late. There's no such thing as too late, it being too late, no matter what you're striving for. So that's a little bit about my journey and how I got to where I am today. I'm that person, anyone who knows me that is close in my orbit, they will tell you, if she wants it, she's going to get it. She's going to do whatever she needs to do to get it. Literally by any means necessary, within reason, though. Let me be frank on that, within reason. So that's kind of how I got to where I am today, Patrick. I had my eyes on the prize and I said, well, hey, if they can have it, so can I. Or if this is what I want, then I'm going to be willing to put in the work to get exactly what I want. And I won't take no for an answer.
That is awesome. Great. Great journey. Great story. I love it. And I have seen the commercials. So literally I'm talking to a celebrity. How cool is that? How cool is that? I think that's pretty cool. Jennifer, if you were to look back right now, what would you say to a Jennifer that was 20, 21 years old? What would you say to the Jennifer back then?
I would say, stay focused. Don't get distracted, and never let anyone tell you what you cannot do and what you cannot be. And I say that because a couple of months ago, I was asked this similar question. And I remember that at one point, people telling me what I could not do or what I could not be kept me stagnant, if you will. And oftentimes we allow other people's voices to shape our destiny, to shape our way of thinking. And I, like many others, am guilty of that. But it was the moment I realized, oh no, no one can tell me what I can and cannot do. That's when I changed that. And that was about around that 22ish age, because at that time you're really learning a lot about yourself. One day you might wake up thinking you have all the answers. The next day you wake up, you realize I have no answers at all. In fact, I don't even know what I'm doing here. So for me, that's very important advice.
Great.
If I had to tell that to my 22-year-old self.
What would you say, Jennifer, was the biggest obstacle in your professional career that you've had to overcome?
I'll classify it as those what do you call it, character building roles. I had two in particular, character building roles. And like the Bible says, to everything there is a season. And one thing about me, I don't quit. I like to finish what I started. And I knew that even while that character was being built in those organizations, I had to finish what I started. I had to finish what I started, because there was a lesson in both of those experiences. And number one, today, being on a senior leadership team, the most important lesson at both organizations was that it taught me the kind of leader I did not want to be. And I think that's so important, because so often people look at leaders and try to only extract their good qualities. But you have to honor those bad qualities just as well, and remind yourself all the time that that is not what you want to do. That is not who you are. That is not who you want to be. So as I say, I call two experiences in particular character building experiences, if you will. And they just taught me who I did not want to be as a leader. And I think I'm a better leader because of those.
Awesome. Great. The last question, well, I have a couple more, but this one in particular, you're obviously, as you said, that you mentor others, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the one thing, let's say someone is looking for a mentor in yourself. What is one thing that you would tell someone, or even a viewer? What is one thing that you would tell them?
Be transparent. Be transparent as the mentor. Be transparent as the mentee. The whole purpose of mentorship is to hold the person you're mentoring accountable. But equally, it's also important for that mentee to hold his or her mentor accountable too. You know what I mean? You cannot be someone who looks to me for advice, for guidance, for information, and not get, you know what I mean? Not get what your expectation meant, if you will. If this is what I'm telling you to come to me for, then I have to make sure that I am prepared to deliver. And you have to be open to receive once I deliver. So for me, it's all about transparency and mentorship and leadership and being a decent human being. It's about transparency.
That's great. And we know there's a difference between having a mentor and having a coach, two different things. So
Two
if
different
you
things.
don't understand that, viewer, if you're watching and you want to say, well, what's the difference between a mentor and a coach? Here, I'm gonna drop this in right on the screen now. Give me a call. info@jackmangroup.llc.com. Well, email me first and then call me if you want to. But if you says, hey, Patrick, I want to know what the difference is between a mentor and a coach, drop me a line. I'll tell you that, right? So, Jennifer, as we close down, this is what we're going to do. We always have what we call rapid fire. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready, Patrick.
Okay. So we're going to start with this. What is the most recent leadership book that you've read?
So I don't know if you call it a leadership book, but it does apply to leadership. By Eckhart Tolle, it was A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. Very insightful. It talks about the importance of consciousness, beginnings as well as endings, honoring your space, honoring the people around you, honoring the people you allow in your space. And like I said, it's about your professionalism as well as your personal life. Great book.
Okay. Sounds good. What is your favorite food?
Seafood. I can eat it all day, every day,
And what?
especially crab legs.
Okay.
King crab legs, to be exact.
Okay. Favorite place to vacation?
Negril, Jamaica. And I know we had a conversation about that already.
Okay, that's good. Awesome. Second to last one. What is your favorite saying?
If you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got.
That's a good one. I love that. Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I said a second to last one. I have two more.
One more.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh wow, that's a hard question, Patrick. Favorite movie? I love The Color Purple. I love Pretty Woman. I love The Titanic. I love a bunch of different movies. I can't say which one is my favorite.
Okay. Favorite musical artist?
That's another very hard question. These are the hardest questions you've asked all night. Favorite artist. Oh my gosh. I don't know that I have one, but I love Mary J. Blige. Who doesn't love Mary J. Blige?
Okay, you can't go around there.
No.
That is good. As we close, Jennifer, I want to thank you for being under 30. Let's close out by what is the last thing that you'd like to say to our viewers as a lasting memory?
Again, faith is the key that will unlock any door. Never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. And last but not least, remember that every time you show up in a room, never let anyone tell you that you don't belong there, because the simple fact that you showed up, that means you're supposed to be there.
Great, Jennifer. Thank you so very much for being here. Much
you.
success in your role.
Thank you, Patrick.
And I pray that your daughter, as she goes into college, will be equally or even more successful than you are.
That's right. More successful.
That's right. So thank you again. We will be chatting, and you have a home here, so feel free to come on back and give us some more pearls of wisdom.
Thank you.
All right. So I've been talking to Jennifer Boutte. Jennifer is the VP or Vice President of Community Engagement at Goodwill of the Finger Lakes. And we've been talking about unlocking the door to a successful career. And as you heard, Jennifer's key is the key of faith. We will continue this series. We will have someone else on next week, another fantastic guest. So thank you for being here. Remember, we are still reading. If you want to join us, we are still reading the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So feel free to join us. We welcome you. Last Saturday, we started with chapter 1, and stay tuned to our channels, our socials, because we're going to tell you when the next time we will continue. We'll have chapter 2 up shortly. So if you still haven't read the book, if you haven't purchased the book, go ahead and do that and read it with us. Or if you've read it and you simply want to listen, we'll have the audio that particular day, and you can just join in the conversation. So thank you once again for being here. We certainly look forward to next Thursday for live. If you want to catch it in replay, you can go to our YouTube channel under the Jackman Group LLC, or you can go to my personal LinkedIn our Facebook pages. So until then, thank you once again. Remember, be safe. And our prayer is that you and your family will continue to be safe. All right, we'll see you next week. Peace.